Let's get into Downtown Hockeytown presented by Labatt Blue Light. Today's guest is former Red Wing Drew Miller. Drew, I can't explain to you how excited I am to see you. You know, Art and I see a lot of you at the Red Wings game. So your first question is, how much have you missed us?
Yeah, I definitely miss you guys. I think we have some great banter. We definitely get art worked up, and we have a lot of fun on the set there at Game Day Live. So I definitely miss it once the quarantine happened, but I guess this is the next best thing. We were all three back together, and Art. I mean, you're talking about your hair all the time, and I have to say that the hair is looking pretty good.
Well, it's wet. I watered it down because it's very unruly at this point. I have not gotten a haircut since you can see I'm getting a little dovetail here in the back. It takes me back to the days when I was just a wee lad when, long hair was great. But I appreciate that, Drew. The one thing that I've always enjoyed about you is your sincerity. You're the most sincere person I've ever met. Everything that comes out of your mouth is you believe it. And so thank you very, very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean the things that come out of your mouth about Michigan, they're probably untrue. So I mean, at least I'm telling the truth when I talk.
Well,
Finally.
I guess I don't want to really get into it that much, but I'm a proud alumnus of the University of Michigan, obviously, and I can't tell you. I never thought my wildest imagination that I would enjoy working with two Spartans like you and throw Carly into the mix. That's three. But you know what? You Michigan State people, okay, you're not the brightest bulbs on the planet. I know that, but you're good people, and I really like working with you.
Art, you just got to hear what we say when you're not sitting there. Then it's
Really?
yeah, we're nice to your face.
Really, well, well, you're not alone in that. Trust me, I'm sure I get that a lot.
I'm just messing with the Art.
He might be over the fact that you went to Michigan State, but he still might not be over the fact that the Red Wings are picking fourth in this year's NHL draft. And we don't know when that's going to be, but what we do know is that they're picking fourth. And Steve Yzerman himself has said that the Red Wings need improvement in every aspect of this team. There isn't one area that he thinks is better than the other or anything like that. But if you're Steve Yzerman and you have that fourth pick, which area are you addressing first?
No, like you said, I think they're looking to improve in all spots, forwards, D, possibly goaltending. They're trying to find the best prospect that you think that you can groom them and get them ready to play on the big team as quick as possible. So I think at that point when they're picking number four, you got to say, okay, who's left, and they're probably pretty sure who they're going to have. So take the best prospect, and then you can find those other pieces through free agency or in next picks, because I mean number four pick is not ideal, not what we wanted, but you know what, you're still going to get a quality player, and we have a lot of draft picks that are we've kind of traded for, or we have other picks, so you got to get lucky in the draft. A lot of guys that have successful careers come later in the draft as well, so I think that they're really looking at the draft as a whole and trying to find all the best prospects that they can get, and then try to groom them and have them ready to go whenever they are ready to jump into the NHL.
I know we're obsessed on that fourth pick, and I want to get to that again, but you were a sixth round pick of the Ducks. Or were they the Mighty Ducks back then? It was Anaheim. That didn't change.
Yeah,
And I mean, you need players like sixth round picks to make it. I mean, this is an important draft, not just because the Red Wings are picking fourth, but it's important because they need help all over. So there are hidden gems down the road. If you're a really good drafting team, chances are is that you're getting third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round picks that eventually make your squad.
yeah, I think for sure. I think everyone, you're picking the kid who is 17, 18, like just about to turn 18, and I mean, there's a lot of improvement from that age. I mean, you have Connor McDavid's, Sidney Crosby. You have these guys that you know are destined to be super. There's also kids that mature later, different timeline than them, that are going to come in as, hey, they got skill, they're doing well in their junior league, but they're just not quite there yet. And they get picked third, fourth, fifth, sixth round, seventh round, eighth round. They don't get drafted, and then all of a sudden they come into their own and they become a really good prospect and a really good NHL player. So I think you got to, when they meet with these kids, they're looking for character, they're looking for different pieces of their game that I wouldn't think a normal fan is sitting there looking for these attributes. They're looking for players that do a certain have a certain skill set, play a certain way, react in certain situations. So they're reading these players and they're going to try to make those picks that gives them an opportunity to get lucky. And that's what you got to be in the draft. You got to get lucky and hope this one pans out.
Drew, one thing that the 2020 draft class will have in common with some of the Red Wings prospects and the guys that are currently on the Red Wings roster is that they're not going to have played a game in a long time. For the Red Wings, it looks like December or January might be the next time that they take the ice for a game. When you look at a huge break like that as a former player, how much does it concern you that these guys won't have game action for that long?
Yeah, I think even with a normal, you make it, like when I was playing with the Wings, I made the playoffs, and we end up losing when I was there, but you'd have your summer break, and then you come back and you're training and skating throughout the summer, and then you go into training camp, and you get into those first preseason games, and you're like, holy crap, this is like the speed is so fast. But I think that if these guys progressively have a timeline throughout the summer and then into the fall, that they're able to kind of ramp that training up. And then once they get into the training camp and those preseason games, I think it's going to come back pretty quick to those guys. It might feel a little awkward because they've never been off this long from a real game. But I think if you just have that progression and kind of work towards it, I think that they'll be all right.
Are you going to follow the NHL playoffs? Do you see a team that this format, does it favor one type of hockey over another? A hot goaltender obviously can carry, as you very well know with your brother, can carry you to greatness. But do you see this being a free-for-all? It's going to be a scoring fest, or do you think defense is going to dominate?
Yeah, you know what? I'm really excited that it's coming back. I really hope that the health side of it is safe for everyone and all that. So putting that aside, though, I'm just excited for sports to come back, and I want to watch some hockey. I love Stanley Cup playoffs. The second season is like nothing else. When you get to play it as a player, I think every single player will say playing in playoffs is the best thing ever. It's so fun. The best of 7 series, you're back and forth, and it's hockey. You're trying to win the Stanley Cup. So it's an exciting time. So I think that these guys are just excited to get back and actually have an opportunity to compete for the Stanley Cup. Do I think any team has any leg up on anyone? I think whoever has the deepest team, whoever has some prospects that can come up and contribute, because my worst fear for some of these guys is they've been off for a while. You're going to have injuries. Someone might get sick and they might be gone for a little bit. So it's one of those things that you got to have the next man up ready to go, and whoever can kind of find that luck and find that positive wave and just ride it and get that momentum going is gonna have the success.
Drew, you mentioned how exciting playoff games are, and they are. The competition's still going to be great, but one aspect that will obviously be different is that there won't be any fans in the stands. How do you see that impacting the flow of the game, or maybe even the advantages? Because a home crowd can give a team a huge advantage. How do you see that playing out?
Oh, I think it's going to be probably the weirdest thing these guys have ever done. As a player, you definitely feed up the crowd, home and away. There's the home energy is for you, but you also on the road you can feed off the noise and energy of the building, even if it is against you and they're not rooting for you. It's going to be really weird for the guys, but I think that everyone's in the same boat, and I think it's going to have that awkwardness maybe for the first couple of games, and then you kind of just, once you get into the game, you kind of have that tunnel vision, you kind of dial it in, and I think it's going to be one of those things like, hey, this is just the reality of what we have to deal with. So let's just deal with it and concentrate on the game. And I'm hoping that maybe they'll do some fun stuff in the stands that give the guys some excitement, playing the music and all that kind of stuff, and do some things maybe with some of the signs or whatever, just to have something in the stands.
Well, Drew, you know that Art and I could talk to you for the entire show, but unfortunately, we are out of time for this segment. It has been great to catch up with you. So thank you so much for joining us today. And also
Yeah, no
a
problem.
big thank you to Labatt Blue Light for presenting Downtown Hockeytown. Labatt Blue Light, refreshing Canadian Pilsner. Visit your local retailer when safe to pick up some Labatt Blue Light.